Hey, what up? Thank you for the gift. So what y'all been up to today? Thank you for sharing the love. Hey, Tom. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Also, spare, what does the collective need to know? I'm starting out with my ISIS cards today because I feel like ISIS wanted to talk to us. The goddess of love, magic, justice. Just super early. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you waiting for me. So we have the Mother of Life card coming out first. It's not Lord. Okay, here it is. We can sometimes fall into existing and doing rather than truly living. We only know that this has happened when suddenly our life seems dry, depleted, filled with tasks, or it feels like we're stuck in a rut or habit that may have been comfortable but is becoming stifling and suppressing. Isis, the mother of life, holds the ability to restore even the most numb, resistant, and difficult circumstances and people back into life. She calls to you now, seeking to bestow gifts of life upon you. Be bold and brave. Open your arms and receive. Isis is known as the sustainer of life, able to restore, nourish, and bring to life that which has been cast aside or lost, that which you have considered beyond repair, a lost cause, or dead end. There are parts of your life, beloved initiate, that are ready to receive more life. You'll be able to recognize this in any discomfort that you are currently experiencing in your life. Discomfort and unfamiliarity is where life is attempting to break through to you, to reach through the walls that you may have once created to protect yourself, but that now you need to either climb over, demolish, or at least open up with some doors and windows. So somebody needed to hear that. Um, I'm hearing resurrecting things that you once had passion for that kind of waned, but it's time to reignite those passions is what I'm hearing. Rising sun, divine solar child reborn. This is where the original concept of Christ came from. The Son, S-U-N, of man. Blessings of the Sun Falcon, the divine Sun Child, Horus, son of Isis and Osiris, flow to you now, beloved initiate. It's time to allow your life to flourish without limits, to let your light burn. I just said reignite the fire. To let your light burn bright and without veil, just like the midsummer sun burning without contest in the Egyptian desert. Blessings of the Sun Falcon herald the time when your divine legacy is being born. It is your time to burn bright. Horus, the divine son, child of Isis and Osiris, was born out of impossible circumstances through the great devotion of his mother Isis and her loving determination to heal her husband and bring him back to life. To eventually become king of Egypt, defeating dark forces that would seek to destroy him and all he loved with great triumph. Is a story of the divine hero of Egypt. Is also a metaphor for our inner world. Our divine feminine must stay true to her values of love, healing, and the triumph of creativity over destruction born of fear and hate. She must never give up her belief in her ideals. Our divine feminine is our body, whether man or woman, our inner values and the ideals that make our hearts beat stronger and feel right within our belly. With such love, and see, this is what I've been talking about for a while now as far as balancing the masculine and feminine. So I was struggling one live to articulate how Isis resurrects the masculine. And so this is speaking to that because it says, with such love for her inner divine masculine, she never gives up on her belief in him either. In her desire for their togetherness, it leads to his healing, even if he has been lost, fragmented, and thought dead. The divine masculine is our spirit, whether woman or man, that our body desires to unite with, to help to come to life and light in a new and blissful way. And I promise y'all, this is the first time I'm actually reading this book. I usually just interpret the cards for face value, but Spirit is like telling me to read the book because I've been talking about the marriage of the divine masculine and feminine within. I was talking about on one live about how Isis resurrects the masculine. So by healing herself, by balancing the masculine and feminine, and this goes for anyone, male or female, especially if you find yourself in multiple failed relationships with the opposite sex or whatever your preference is. I'll just say romantic relationships in general. It is a call for you to marry the divine masculine and feminine within, to balance your masculine and feminine energies. And how you do that is through love for yourself, love for every part of you, especially your body. You know, like being uncomfortable in your skin, so to speak. Like maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to, have a new skincare routine, maybe you want to just go work out and tighten, whatever it is. Having love for you and your body as it is right now, that's a part of healing the feminine. And loving who you are right now, standing up for yourself, protecting yourself, that is healing for the masculine within. And so it's, like I've been saying it for a while, it is so important to put yourself first and focus on yourself, because no one outside of you can heal those inner parts of you. No relationship can restore the love for yourself. Because if Spirit is saying, if we really think about it, relationships challenge us. Relationships test our ability to love ourselves. Because other people come to the relationship with their stuff. And so their stuff is challenging your stuff is challenging their stuff. And, like I want to stop saying like so much. I was watching my video and I say like a lot. I'm gonna kind of shift gears a little bit. I have encountered, and this is for somebody, I have encountered quite a few men who outwardly display confidence, and I'm hearing bravado, and I guess that's ego. I don't even use words like that. That's why I'm like, it's so funny when my spirit guides give me these words to say, because I'm like, I gotta look that up. So they outwardly exude like this confidence, and I absolutely despise the whole alpha male concept because it's some BS to me. But they will run from me because I challenge the hell out of their masculinity, their confidence, because I have healed the masculine within me. And I'm not saying that I'm completely healed, and I'm not saying that it's not a constant journey of healing, but I have healed and balanced my energy so much that it puts people in a whole other headspace, heart space. It makes you question, are you really that confident? Yes. That healing will cause people to run. Like straight up. I mean, aside from the fact, the whole spiritual part and you being intuitive and, being able to read the situation very easily, that's a whole factor in itself because people don't really like to be seen like that. Even if they're not doing anything trifling, they don't want to be seen individually like that. And if they on some BS, they like, never mind. Like, I'm not even gonna mess with that because I'm gonna be put on Front Street every time. So I feel like it's very interesting that Mother of Life came out and then the Divine Solar Child Reborn. That's definitely no mistake. And the certain, I'm not going to name any names because I don't know, I don't have enough information about these organizations, but there's certain like spiritual practices that make working with deities and the orishas and all that very exclusive, and you have to be initiated or whatever before you're allowed to, you know, ask for help from a deity or whatever. Uh-uh. Now, if you want some bullshit and you out here doing spell work on people and trying to be competitive and doing wrong by people, none of these energies are going to work with you. So it's straight delusion for you to think that you out here doing crazy stuff to people and these beautiful, powerful, loving energies will work with you. And I can tell you that one person in particular, I encountered a very powerful, very gifted reader who happened to be a part of this organization. And she was like, I don't know what they call them, a mother or whatever they call them. So basically, she had, younger people or just people under her that she was guiding and, in the practice. I don't have a problem with the practice itself. It's how it has turned into like a business or something, and it's almost like how church has become a business, and it's no longer about the true spiritual elevation and enlightenment of people, and it's more about, okay, well, I'm gonna need this money in order for you to become this and this. And we see your gifts because they definitely target people with true bona fide divine gifts, so they don't play about that part. But this one particular person was doing all kinds of spell work on me to compete with me. And I'm like, what? And at that time, I didn't even feel confident in my gifts. I was telling her I didn't feel like I could really tap in. And so, again, when people see you better than you can see yourself and they on some competitive stuff, I don't. You said I don't mind it becoming a business because the lights need to be kept on. But when they start to price gouge, right? And I'm absolutely not. I'm absolutely not hating on there being money involved in anything. I was just talking to my spirit team the other day, and I was like, I don't have an issue with pastors making money because we all have to make money. But like you said, when you start gouging people and when you start creating situations where people are tithing instead of paying their bills, that's not even being a good steward of your money. You know, the church should be teaching people money management, teaching about credit, teaching them about investments. The church, like if we really looked at the Jewish community and we looked at their model of pooling their resources and patronizing each other's businesses and building each other's businesses up, that's really what spirituality should look like. It should look like everybody working together cooperatively for a common goal for the collective. Everybody wins. That should be the common collective goal. But whether it be formal organized religion or just like some spirituality in general, it has been totally corrupted. And again, I don't have a problem with charging to take someone to Africa and do the initiation or whatever, because there's cost involved in all of that. But my issue is, if you're going to recruit people and put them in like a position of power, and I say that so lightly, but that's essentially what you're doing, because when you get initiated and then you start guiding people into this practice and all that, you're putting them in a leadership position, essentially a position of power, whatever. And other people look up to these people for, you know, guidance and showing them the way and all of that, being an example. But if you're doing negative spell work on other people in those positions, that's where the breakdown is. Because if you're going to take somebody's money for something, you need to be encouraging them to do the right thing, encouraging them to not try to harm people or manipulate people's energy, or, you know, there should be some guidelines. There should be some ethical guidelines. And so when you, because I was actually talking to someone who got approached to be initiated, and she was being asked to pay $10,000 for the process before even knowing anything about the practice. So you're not even teaching people about the practice to see if it's a good fit or not. Like, there's something wrong with all of that shit. There's something really wrong with that. I don't care what practice it is. And this is a PSA. Y'all can come for me, because I don't know how many people watch me from outside the live, but y'all can try to come for me for talking about your practice if you want to. And this is no threat of, you know, physical harm or anything like that. I'm just saying, don't do it to yourself, because my spirit guides, when you get handled from a spiritual perspective, is way worse than any kind of physical assault. It's way worse, longer lasting, going generational deep, going bloodline deep. Yo, people are wild for even messing with that. The dark mysteries enter the chamber of the dark goddess. Let's see what she's talking about. I wish I could get to the places in this book quicker. Yes. Let me know if you want a general or you want something specific. I want to know more about the relationship with my mom. Why can't we get along? Okay. Did you send it to Venmo or you send it to Cash App? Okay. Lord, is this the last one in here? Okay, the dark mysteries. And this is the card that came out. The dark, okay, I got it. Thank you. The dark goddess calls you to her inner chamber where she holds a test and a gift for you. The test is your willingness to meet and release the fears within that have been secretly holding you back. The gift is freedom, peace, opportunity, and prosperity in all its forms. Will you accept her call? Your time for deeper initiation is here. When the dark goddess calls you, it is a life-changing experience. It is not always easy, but the rewards for those brave enough to answer her call and enter her inner chamber are tremendous indeed. The rewards are a life lived more fearlessly, the gift of loving and being just who you are in truth without having to impress or bow to another out of fear of rejection. Oh my gosh. It is a more open and expansive way to live, and it attracts the bounty of the Dark Mother, her gifts of love, opportunity, peace, and prosperity, well-being, and wisdom. It takes a strong soul to go through this test and into the liberation it delivers. But you are ready, dear initiate of light. The dark goddess calls you to initiation when you have been working on your own shadow, bringing your whole self to light. Yes. What was I just talking about? Balancing your masculine and feminine, doing that work. During such times, we often need help as shadow work. We often need help as shadow work can be uncomfortable, painful, or just quite difficult to undertake as we are working with unconscious material, trying to bring it into the light of our conscious awareness. Working with the shadow, the parts of us that we have deemed unlovable, or the parts that seem too marvelous to actually be us, requires courage. The dark goddess will call when your own shadow needs healing and integration, when something within is holding you back, when when instead, if acknowledged and brought into the light of awareness, it could actually help you move forward. Let me say that again. The dark goddess will call you when your own shadow needs healing and integration, when something within is holding you back, when instead, if acknowledged and brought into the light of awareness, it could actually help you move forward. Often the shadow element that needs integration when the dark goddess is present is power in some form or other. It may be personal power, spiritual power, or your relationship to power that needs to change for you to blossom and for life and its gifts to manifest more abundantly for you. Becoming more powerful does not necessarily mean gaining more force. More often, for advanced souls, it actually means surrendering our will into alignment with greater forces of divine will. And I'm going to make that an affirmation. Spirit, I surrender my will into alignment with greater forces of divine will, allowing me to consciously participate in the flow of life, sensing the signs and nudges that lead me toward my greatest manifestation of soul this lifetime. Okay, yeah, just let me know when you come back. Often, when we are reclaiming our power and defining for ourselves what it is to be powerful, we are confronted with fears of loss, failure, abandonment, and rejection. It can be painful at times, but accepting and releasing the pain brings such deep relief and happiness to the soul. It is good to confront these fears with a loving and firm approach and be open to taking risks and growing anyway. This is what Isis as a dark goddess teaches us, not to be afraid to go into the dark places and the difficult feelings within. They may seem ugly at first, yet if we allow ourselves to go there with some conscious awareness in place, we can realize that these parts of us just need love and acceptance. And those parts that we once reviled, often blossom and turn into our greatest assets in a more conscious, helpful version of ourselves. And that's what I was just saying. That's what I was just saying. You back, Larcy? All right. So I'm just waiting for Larcy to come back because she wanted a Liverpool reading. I'm gonna go ahead and start Larcy's reading. Higher self spirit, what does Larcy need to know about the relationship with her mother? Higher self spirit, what does Larcy need to know about the relationship with her mother? Okay. I had started your reading. I'm writing some stuff down right now. Okay, so you still here, Larcy? Okay. Um, so I definitely feel like I was led to um talk about Isis and pull some cards from her deck because I feel like she definitely wants to work with you and kind of be like a surrogate mother for you because based on what I was getting, your mother sounds very narcissistic, and they were describing her as having very low self-esteem, a lot of self-hatred, and just being jealous of you. So let me know if that resonates. Oh, oh, did you respond yet? Larcy, if you're commenting, I can't see your comment. I don't know about being jealous, but low self esteem, I can't see. I don't understand the narcissistic. So the narcissistic part, so I'll just read to you what they gave me. She's very giving, but I think too much. Okay, so what they were saying is that, and let me know if this is not your energy. Let me, well, yeah, I cleared the energy beforehand, but um, so people can display jealousy in different ways. So the way they were describing her energy as far as jealousy would be, so the I guess the root behind it is that you've essentially accomplished things that she never could have. Being a good person despite how she has treated you is one of them. um they were talking about her criticizing you on things that don't necessarily pertain to you, but it's more of like how she feels about herself. So, like, if she doesn't feel like she's a good cook, she may criticize your cooking. That, would be an example. And that's where the narcissism comes in. Because when you're narcissist, you like do things in a um not hidden way, but do things in a way that is very passive aggressive. So if you do things in a passive aggressive way, it penetrates the person subconsciously. So it'll be like kind of elusive where you won't necessarily know how to pinpoint what's happening per se. But the person be on some BS. And I don't know if you are aware of any kind of SA that she may have experienced, but they were talking about her having a mother wound, so how she was treated or interacted with her own mother, and then self-hatred due to SA or some kind of abuse. So let me know if any of that makes sense so far. I do know her mom is not nice. Okay. So none of that other stuff that I was talking about makes sense for y'all's relationship. About the SA, don't know. She doesn't say much about her childhood. Okay. But as far as what I was saying about the criticism, does that make sense? And like you accomplishing things that she wasn't able to accomplish. As a child, she was very physically abusive to me. Okay. I have accomplished a lot more than her. Okay. So that's essentially what the jealousy part is, like you accomplishing more than her. But she always seemed proud. That's the narcissism part. I won't say she didn't help me. It was a very similar situation with myself and my mother. So I had a child as a teenager. My mother helped me support all my children, really. Um, She seemed supportive of me. She would, tell me I'm pretty and tell me she's so proud of me. And, through this big graduation party when I graduated college and all that in high school. But she was secretly dealing with all of these things. Like when I was doing your reading, I was questioning what I was getting because it's very similar, if not identical, to the situation with my mother. My mom had my older brother at 15. Okay, so that's a lot of that. That could be the result of SA that I'm talking about. And so, like, they're talking about having a lot of trauma, especially like in the womb area. And so, like, when you have a mother wound, so if her mom isn't very nice and she hasn't been very nice in the natural, that lady was passing so much negativity to your mother in the womb. So we're talking about from a scientific perspective, when your grandmother was pregnant with your mother, because your mother is born with every egg that she will ever have in life, you were a part of your mother inside of your grandmother. And so whatever chaos was going on in your grandmother's life when she was pregnant with your mother, that is transferred to your mother before she even hits the earth, technically, outside of the womb. And then it was, you were a part of her during that process, during her childhood and all of that. And so all of that was then not only transferred to you when she was in her mother's womb, but transferred to you when you were in her womb. And so in order for you to break this cycle, and you're already doing a great job, because, Spirit was saying part of your test as a cycle breaker is to have to still be a good person despite how you were treated by your mother. And so the idea was that was your mother's role at one point. Your mother was supposed to be a cycle breaker despite how she was treated by her mother, but she didn't do that. Instead, she transferred that to you from a spiritual standpoint and a physical standpoint with the abuse. Or, what you were talking about. So he knows his dad, he ain't worth a dime. Yeah, so that could have very well been what I'm talking about, the SA. And when we're 15, like, I had my son when I was 17 and I was 16 when I got pregnant. So when we're that age, we're very vulnerable, very impressionable, just, sometimes go for anything is what I'm hearing, fall for the okie doke. We haven't fully come into our own, our frontal lobe isn't even fully developed. So there's a whole lot of dynamics going on. And even if, so like with me, I was willingly in an intimate relationship with my oldest son's father as a teenager. But at some point during the time we had together, I was SA'd by him. So, and that's kind of the first time I've ever said that publicly. So I'm like having a moment here. And so that's, all of those things can happen, and then that's okay. I had a moment because I was like, what if he sees this? What if my son sees this? Yeah, that was the moment. Thank you so much. Um, but so yeah, so like all of those dynamics, plus the fact that you're a good person, like she wishes that she could be a better person, and so with you being a good person, with you doing the healing work, with you accomplishing more than she accomplished, despite how she treated you, because she definitely knows how she's treating you, and she knows she's being a terrible person, essentially. Um, that all of that is where the whole jealousy part comes in. And the narcissism is trying to make you feel less than when she knows that you're actually a better person than her. um they were saying something about she projects rejection onto you, like making you feel less than, leaving you out of things, giving you whacker gifts. I don't know about all that, but let me know if any of that resonates. Hey, friend. Boogie choogie. Boogie choogie. He's so funny. He be wanting me to hold him and then act like I'm not paying you any attention. Oh, Whack gives definitely no. I would. I had the same name, Brandis. No generic over here. No, I'm not saying generic gifts. I'm talking about like in comparison to someone else. So like if the gift giving is at Christmas and you're looking at your gifts in comparison to somebody else's, it may be like, a whacker gift, like not cheap or anything like that. Or it may be something like, for instance, what narcissists will do is they'll get somebody, they'll get like in front of you, they'll get the other person a gift that they actually like the gift is thought out, very intentional, but then just it give you a nice gift, but it'll be a gift that you're looking at like, okay, how did you figure that I would like this, that type of thing. Oh, you understand. Like laundry detergent, Lord. Why would folk give you a gift of laundry detergent? That's crazy. Unless that's what you really wanted, like maybe you got a new washer or something, but that's wild. So Larcy, let me know if that part resonates. While my siblings got stuff connected to their personality. Oh Lord, am I reading your energy? Definitely no. She was very good at providing. It's more emotionally we don't get along. Okay. Um so what I'm saying is though the gifts, you felt like the gifts pertain to you. Like they meant something to you versus it just being like she just picked up something at the store. That's what I'm talking about. If I wanted the Barbie dream house, I got it for sure. Okay. So, And my mother was the same way initially when I was younger. Like she made every Christmas magical for me. Like there's just like, even though my mother was like that, she went out of her way to make things magical. Like I would come downstairs and the whole living room would be full of stuff. But so it could possibly be a situation where spirit is talking about like an illusion was created for you as a child. An illusion of like, I'm here for you. I love you. Like that type of thing. And she probably was genuinely in that energy more so when you were a child. But as you get older, as she starts to see things about you that, like I said, she didn't accomplish, she wished she had accomplished, she wished she had your disposition, then the energy starts shifting and it starts becoming, like a different situation. And like sometimes it's the same, it's similar when you're a child, but the negative energy is more so projected toward the energy around the relationship with your father. So even though there were certain practical things, the treatment, the gifts, or whatever, and I know spirit brought up the gift giving for a reason. And I could be interpreting it slightly different. As far as like there being a differentiation in like gifts you got versus your brother got or whatever. There's something significant about the gift giving though. So like that's why I was saying so what happens is when you're a child and your parent does certain things for you in a certain manner, but then as you get older and the person starts doing little, like saying little things to kind of like, like, was that to make you question, was that shade or was that, it's very, I would not be surprised if your mother was a Pisces, because I see Pisces do this all the time. So like my mom, just to be like, it's almost like just to be able to say that she did something, she operated in, oh, she's a Sagittarius, she operated in a certain way. She may have Pisces like in her top 3, like her moon might be Pisces or something, like I don't know, but it's giving Pisces energy. But anyway, um so when you have a situation where you are, you want to like you want to exude a certain image to the people around you when you're a mother of young children. So like you want to be known as the mom that gives the good gifts and the mom that gives, my mother used to have these huge elaborate birthday parties for me. And the birthday parties would be, full of kids, magicians, all this shit, clowns. Somebody was hired for the party. And so that is like their way of showing the outside world, like, look at me, I'm a good mom. Her mother may have criticized her a lot as a parent, especially having a child at 15 and all of those things. So it's like, look at me, I'm a great parent, blah, 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 blah. But then you were saying like behind closed doors, it's a little bit different because she was, um, abusing, like, I don't like to use the word abuse, but she was spanking you and, like stuff like that. Um, so, like, I have spanked my children, and like my youngest son tried to say that I was abusive, but I'm like, bruh, I can count on one hand how many times I spanked all three of y'all. So I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're saying that it was like excessive, those are like narcissistic things, borderline personality disorder. Because if you're trying to project an image from the outside, but really on the inside it's a whole different dark world, yeah, that's not. No, I get flashbacks all the time about it. So yeah, so that's a different level. So, but what happens is your parents can basically create illusions for you for when you were a child, and then when you start to get into your teenage years and your adult years, you're like, I don't it doesn't feel right. Like our interactions don't feel right. I feel like she's shading me all the time. I feel like she's doing underhanded stuff, but it doesn't jive with how I remember she treated me in this, and this instance. And that's where I started having confusion as a teenager, because I was like, my mom is a pillar in the community. She's always looking out for people, helping people. People love her. And she did all this stuff for me as a kid. She was Girl Scout troop leader extraordinaire, PTA president, like doing all this shit. But that was all for the optics. So she's doing all this stuff for the optics. It's confusing me because I'm thinking it's really done for me out of love. But then as I get older and I start to see the bullshit for what it is, you know, and then I start to see her for what it is. But despite all of that, I'm still a good person, and I still got my master's degree despite having a child at 17, and I'm still, like loved by people and all of that stuff, and have a like clean house or whatever, like whatever, I can cook better. I have a clean house. Your house is fucked up. You can't cook, like all that, whatever. Um, that's and that's when you start to really understand the dynamics of the relationship. And so what Spirit was saying is that it's not really going to improve, unfortunately. But fortunately, Isis wants to work with you and like help you to heal your mother wound, kind of be a mother, the mother to you that you didn't have. And so that's a pretty big thing if energy that big and powerful and loving wants to work with you. You said, and I think she didn't understand. She mentioned getting the same treatment from her grandma. Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm saying that stuff gets passed down through the bloodline, passed down through the womb space. And so yeah, that's definitely um like basically, so your, like I said earlier, your challenge with the relationship is to get beyond like what society says your relationship with your mother should look like. When Spirit is saying, when you stop grieving the earthly relationship with your mother, then you'll be able to enjoy the spiritual relationship you have to Isis. Because what what we have a tendency to fall into is when we have a parent who, like, we're trying to get the approval of, we tend to be like, sad about the relationship, sad about what it is, what it isn't. And then we can go into a mode of like trying to win over the person. So, like, always calling the person just to be rejected, always wanting to spend time with the person just to be rejected. Like 5 minutes after you get there, okay, so when you gonna go home? Like that type of energy. You make an effort to call the person to talk to them, and they're like, somebody's at the door, I'm gonna have to go, that bullshit. So, and not saying that that's exactly what's happening, but that's the energy around it. You say, yep, that's her. Yeah, so that's like a subtle, underhanded way to reject you. And I feel like she knows that you're intuitive enough to pick up on it. So it's like, not only am I going to do this bullshit to show you rejection, I'm going to be intentional with it because I know that you know what's happening here. Because she probably, when she does it to you in person, the energy is that when she does it to you in person, she kind of sits back and watches. She watches to see your demeanor change. Like, that's some hateful shit. To like intentionally say something that's very passive aggressive or do something very passive aggressive and then sit back and watch to see if you get sad. Girl. So I have to tell her to prioritize. So I have, okay, hold on. Oh, so you have to, so you're saying you have to tell her to prioritize you? And then you said, but I don't know if that's a people pleasing thing. Um, it's not a people pleasing thing necessarily. It is you standing up for yourself or telling her what you need, but she's not able to give it to you. And so that's essentially what Spirit is saying, is that not only has your challenge been to like be able to navigate the relationship with her, but your new challenge is setting boundaries with her, being okay with the fact that your relationship is never going to be what you want it to be or what you would like for it to look like, and being okay with that and being confident and secure in yourself to know that her treatment of you is no reflection on you. Her treatment of you is no reflection of how the divine feels about you. Because if Isis wants to work with you, like I was just reading about the card, if she wants to work with you, it means that you're already on the path to healing. You've already done the work. You just need like that last, assistance over that last little hump. But she works with people who have a good heart, who are doing the work for themselves, because that's essentially what the Bible or whatever talks about, as far as like faith without works is dead. God, I don't know if this is in the Bible or not, but like God helps those who help themselves. Like, that's essentially the energy of like when a deity comes to you to work with you, you know that you have been doing the work and they see you and they want to support you because the person who was in your life in the natural, who was supposed to be that for you, was not able to be that for you. I'm gonna pull a couple of cards for you. Can you sit down, Bubba Lover? Bubba Lover Jubba? Okay. Yeah, my mother was just like that. And she passed away. And when immediately she was coming to me like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And I was just like, I ain't trying to hear all of that. And then I have one of my mentors do a mediumship reading for me after she passed, just so I could get like some direction for how to handle her estate and things like that. And she was so apologetic. I was horrible. I was this, I was that. And I'm like, you know, it's easy to say that and admit that now that you're gone, because I used to confront her on a regular basis. I used to call her on her shit, and she would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Literally. Or she would just sit there and look at me without saying anything, like she dumb and she's fully aware. And so now that you see me, now that you see who I am from a spiritual perspective, now that you've transitioned, you want to cop to all these pleas. Oh, I was so horrible. Nah, you still gonna have to deal with them over there for how you treated me. I'm not getting you out of that shit. I was like, nah, I'm not, like, it's cool that you want to apologize now, but I'm not getting you out of none of that shit that you got to deal with over there, sis. Like, it for real felt like somebody calling me from jail and trying to like get me to be on their team before they go before the judge. And I was like, nope, absolutely not. Nope. I will not be a witness. First card out is, and this is basically navigating your darkness. Moving your emotions out of the way, balancing your masculine and feminine, coming out of the darkness. And so that's essentially what I was talking about as far as like how you have to navigate the relationship with your mom. And now like transitioning into a place where you're moving your emotions out of the way so that you can walk through to get to the other side. And so moving your emotions out of the way is what I was talking about, like taking your emotions out of what you think the relationship should look like, taking your emotions out of what society says a mother and daughter relationship should be like. Acknowledging, your value. Other people can try to make you feel less than or less valuable, but when you know that you're valuable and the divine is telling you you're valuable. So yeah, healing heartache, heartbreak with the relationship. Isis helping you to move to calmer waters. So this is essentially like you've already done the work, the healing work. You've already been navigating the darkness and getting you to calmer waters, getting you to more emotional stability where you're more focused on yourself than on any external relationship. And this is like leaving all the things and people behind that no longer serve you, that leave your cup empty. And I also like to look at these cups as your spirit guides behind you, supporting you. But turning your back on the relationship with her. And I know that sounds harsh, but sometimes you got to do it. You got to leave folks behind. Yep. This is basically the energy she wants you to be in. Oh, so you won't do that as far as turning your back on the relationship? And when I say turn your back on the relationship, I'm not saying that you're like never talking to her again or never expressing love to her again. I'm talking about you can still have a relationship, but you're not attached to the outcome of it. So there's a way different energy to being dependent upon a relationship and or the outcome versus the art of detachment. And that's what I'm talking about. Because the cups are still behind her. She just turned her back on it. It doesn't mean that she's necessarily just going to abandon them, like abandon. I probably shouldn't have used the word abandon. I speak metaphorically a lot. So, I probably should preface my readings with that because um I have, hold on a second. Because I have, hold on. All right, I'm getting ready to hop off of here. But because what was I about to say? Lord. Sorry. I'm expecting company, so I'm like trying to multitask. But you got the world card as well. So this is coming to the end of a season, closing a chapter. Tom, don't be showing them eyes. So like you working with Isis will finally close out that chapter. And again, like it's not about you having to completely like disconnect, never talk to her again, but the depth of the interaction is what I'm talking about. So like not having an expectation of her to prioritize you or to treat you a certain way and not attaching that treatment to your worth and your value and how you feel about yourself. would it be an end of the tug of war? I wouldn't necessarily say that, because Spirit said that the relationship isn't going to like improve. So if you want, if your interpretation of the end of the tug of war is an improvement, I wouldn't necessarily expect an improvement. But yeah. But if you mean ends of the tug of war, like as far as you trying to tug on her to give you the love, the treatment, the relationship that you think it should be, that would, yes, you detaching would end that tug of war. Absolutely. Yes. So, but I hope that helped you. Thank you for trusting me with your energy. Thank you for always supporting me. I would say, if you have any other questions, you can inbox me. But yeah. Okay. You said a little bit. What you mean? I always feel a bit guilty after. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what Isis can help you with, is not feeling guilty about the interactions, or not feeling guilty about the status of the relationship, but detaching from like what you feel like it has to be. Because like, I had to come to a realization about the relationship with my dad too. Like the reality of it is that it's not going to be any different. He's not going to change, but I still call and check on him. I still care about him. So that's the difference with that. But I've only come to that point because I love me, and I know that my spirit guides and my spirit team and my ancestors and angels love me too. And so it doesn't matter what any earthly relationship looks like. I'm always going to be me, and I'm always going to love me, and it doesn't matter how other people treat me. So, but you're welcome. I'm about to hop off of here, so I will see y'all later.